Whether you've waited in a long line or lost your car keys, there's a good chance that at some point in your life you have felt a level of frustration. Hello, this is Nothing Fancy, and today we'll be taking a look at the 1999 Mike Judge comedy, Office Space. Office Space sets the theme of frustration right from the start, with our main character Peter stuck in traffic on his way to work. Peter is a guy who is at the end of his rope, dissatisfied with virtually every aspect of his life. Nothing seems to be going his way. He hates his job, his boss, his thin-walled apartment, and his relationship is falling apart, which leads him and his significant other to attend an occupational hypnotherapist who tries to temporarily relieve Peter of all his frustrations, but ironically dies in a stressful manner during the hypnosis, leaving Peter trapped in a blissful and carefree state.
Deeper and deeper. Way down. One.
Oh my God, Dr. Swanson!
As a newly enlightened individual, Peter begins to pursue the things that make him happy and neglect the things he has a disdain for. And, in ironic ways, this improves his life. For example, Peter gets dumped but asks out the girl who works at Tchotchke's. He openly talks about how awful his job is, which leads to a promotion, and noticeably has a greater level of self-confidence.
I generally come in at least 15 minutes late. I use the side door. That way Lumberg can't see me. And after that, I just sort of space out for about an hour. Till I'm
Space out?
An interesting thing that Office Space does is that it gives the side characters their own frustrations. And it's done in a masterful way that lets the audience know that these characters have been dealing with these things for a long time. There's Joanna, who is frustrated with her job and the forced positivity and self-expression that comes with it. Michael and Samir, who share their frustrations with their names, the printer, and with Peter later on in the film. Tom, who is in constant fear of losing his job. And finally, Milton, someone who is viewed more as a nuisance than a co-worker. Milton is constantly told to move his desk and has an unhealthy attachment to a stapler. Before the characters can relieve themselves of these tensions, they first have to reach a boiling point, which is encouraged by Peter, who isn't really taking these consequences into consideration. Once the characters reach their tipping point, it causes them to deal with these problems in a manner that is not recommended. Joanna quits her job with some flair. Tom attempts suicide, but ultimately decides he wants to live after seeing his wife. And Samir and Michael decide to steal from their workplace with the help of Peter. They also get their revenge on the printer, which in my opinion leads to one of the greatest scenes ever made.
Back up in your ass with the resurrection. Is the group harder than an erection that shows no affection?
While these methods seem to work out for Joanna and Tom, Peter, Michael, and Samir aren't so lucky. With a mistake made in the virus they built to steal money, the guys find themselves in big trouble.
Oh, shit.
And, with no reasonable way out, Peter decides to take the blame and face the music. Peter takes the stolen money, writes a note explaining what happened, and then goes to turn himself in. But let's back up for just 1 minute. Remember Milton? We still haven't discussed how he dealt with his growing frustrations. The day after Peter dropped off his note and the money, Milton is at work trying to get some of his problems resolved, but as usual, he is ignored. The only difference is that Milton decides to take action in the form of burning the office to the ground. This causes Peter to get off the hook, and he finds a new job that brings meaning into his life once and for all. Office Space's last two shots include bookend characters that are polar opposites and don't really change throughout the film. There's Lawrence, who is outspoken, confident, and easygoing, and Milton, who has none of these traits, and is still ignored at the end of the film and remains frustrated.
Oh, no salt for the margarita, but it had salt on it.
Lo siento
There's
mucho,
big grains
señor.
of salt on close to it, so what
Pinche
happens
gringo.
again? I won't be leaving a tip, because I could shut this whole resort down. Sir?
I gotta say, Office Space is one of my favorite comedies, and I really enjoyed making this video. And if you enjoyed watching it, maybe consider becoming a subscriber. Thank you.